Didn't see you there. What? Oh no, I'm just on the floor keeping my Buzzwordathon 2022 books company. What's that? Oh no, I did read all of the buzzwords. I read a book every month. Yes, yeah, I did neglect about 75% of what I pulled out from my TBR. You're correct. Yeah. Anyway, let's look at the ones for this year. I am outrageously bad at giving myself a TBR and sticking with it. And this year it was out of necessity. Like the Buzzwordathon, it was great in January. I had plenty of time. I read like 3 books that stuck with the theme, but also I had time. I may have gotten sick and had time to read. But I usually had to like default to an audiobook. My goal for Buzzwordathon was to get rid of some of my actually own TBR, and while I did do that, I didn't do it as successfully as I'd like. Again, I still have a big stack of books, and I've just put them off to the side. I'll pull from them this year to maybe I can fit them into a different TBR and not have to put them back on my shelves. But anyway, Kayla with Books and Lala released the 2023 words a couple of weeks ago. Time means nothing in December. And so I've gone ahead and pulled out books for that. So let's look at what I'm intending to read. Again, take this with a grain of salt because who knows. January involves the words life and death. I think you can also use like lives and deaths, living, that kind of thing. I think you can play around with it a little bit. But I chose 2. One of these will hopefully get read. I chose The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue and The 7 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. Now, I've had this one for about 3 years now. My friend Gina bought it for me for Christmas. And this one is the Owlcrate exclusive edition. I tried to prioritize Owlcrate books because I have a bunch of them backlogged I have not read. That is ridiculous and embarrassing. So there are a lot of Owlcrate special editions up here because they fit the prompts and I want to get them off my shelf. If I don't like them, I'd like to take them to my classroom or give them to someone who actually appreciates them. So this is technically an Owlcrate. And those are 2 options. They're both kind of large, and they may end up being an audiobook. That way I can actually read it with other things, but we'll see. My cats are acting like little assholes right now. I have 2 options for the next one too. February is verbs, so anything that involves a verb. And so I chose I Hope You Get This Message and The Whispering Dark. Now, I am playing kind of fast and loose with the Whispering Dark because I believe whispering here is actually acting as an adjective to describe the darkness. The darkness is whispering. So I think, grammatically we're playing a little bit loose with that, but whispering is technically a verb. There are some other options I've looked at for the verb. And again, I'm going to have to give myself some flexibility. February is a short month, so sometimes it needs a shorter book. I also think we're going to be starting Salvage the Bones in school that month, and so it's a really, really packed month, so I might have to just find a really short audiobook first. But these are the 2 that I'm hoping to get to for verb. For March, I actually only have 1 book in my house that has secret or secrets in it and isn't something I've already read, like The Secret History, and that is The 100 Secret Senses by Amy Tan. I read The Joy Luck Club a couple years ago and loved it. I thought it was very beautiful. This is going to be a challenge. I already know that. And March is a regular size month, so maybe it'll be okay. But I have doubts about this. I may have to do this as an audiobook like I did The Joy Luck Club. It's a good audiobook, so this is for March. April is Emotions, and I only really have 1 book I want to get to because it's highly recommended and everybody likes it. The Hating Game. I've heard a little bit about this, but not enough that it's spoiled for me, so I am interested in reading it, and it's a romance, so it shouldn't take me too long, but this is for April Emotions. I also have spring break in April, so this is like made for that, so hopefully we'll be able to do that. May is flavors, which I thought was really interesting. So it's like things that you would flavor, like chips would be this flavor. It was really hard to pick books for that because how do you even search your books for flavors? But I think I figured it out. I did find an Owlcrate book, Sweet and Bitter Magic. I've been meaning to pick up. So sweet and bitter are both flavors. And then I also picked up The Sweetest Fruits by Monique Trong. And fun fact, I believe this is signed and personalized. because she came to my college and I bought this there after she gave a talk. And it's about these 3 wives of this famous artist, I think. But sweetest being the flavor there, so sweet. So these are the 2 options for May. June is the word other. You cannot combine it and make it mother or brother or another, just other. And that one was really hard to find as well, that I hadn't already read, but I did have one option. And since this is happening in June and I'm out of school, I think I may be able to do my Mary Bennett like reading vlog kind of thing where I read all the Mary Bennett books, because the only book I have is the other Bennett sister, and this is about Mary Bennett. It's a big boy, but again, June I have off from school, so I've got time, so hopefully I can get to this for June for the word other. July is weather words, and I'm sure I've got some other options I could use for this if need be, but I think this one's going to be fine. It's A.S. King's Still Life with Tornado, tornado being the weather word. I don't know a lot about this, but I've been meaning to read A.S. King to see if I like them for a while, and I think this and Dig are the only 2 that I have. Dig could be read for verbs. I just thought about that. But again, I have a lot of verbs. I don't need to add anything to verbs. Anyway, this is for weather. This is for July. August is body parts. August is also when I start back to school. So if I don't hit it at the very beginning of the month, it's going to be hard to read one. So I picked another Owl Crate. I have this Poison Heart. I believe the sequel came out this year, so I definitely want to go ahead and knock this out. I've heard good things about it. And yes, this is for body parts, heart. September is game-related words, so anything to do with games or challenges or that sort of thing. So I chose the Henna Wars for that one. I've had this for a while. I think I bought it last year during the Barnes & Noble half-off sale, and it has been in my like upper TBR but never been used, so it would be great to go ahead and get to that this year. So this is for game words. I think this is the only book I pulled out for game words. October is magic words, which I really like. And again, this is another one where I have a lot of options to read for magic words, but I had 2 that I really do need to get to, and that is The Nature of Witches and the X Hex. So these are magic words, and these are both about witches, which is kind of fitting. And so these are for October magic words. November is the word good. Just good. I think you could probably do goodness or something like that, but it has to be good. And so I chose Not Good for Maidens. I have the Ark that I still haven't read, which is embarrassing. And Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil. So these are both very different books, very different vibes for November. And November tends to be a weird month. There's not a lot of school, but there's also a lot of holiday preparation. So we'll see. One of these may end up being an audiobook, but these are for November good. And the last month of the year, December, has the word song. Song has been used in a lot of YA fantasy recently, but I don't actually own any of those books. So instead, I chose Ghostwood Song and this Savage Song, both of which have been on my TBR for a minute, and both have been really interesting and compelling to me. I mean, is it stupid to wait a year to read them if I'm interested? Maybe. But either way, these are my 2 options for song. So there they are, my Buzzword 2023 options. Hopefully I will be more successful in actually reading from these than I was the ones that got neglected last year. What are you reading for Buzzword 2023? Do you have any options that I haven't thought of that are up here? Which of my books do you think I'm going to like the best? There's some other options I may pick up too if I end up having more time in the month, but I'm not going to hold my breath. Knowing what happened this year, I'm not going to hold my breath. Anyway, that is the video. I think I'm going to go ahead and start maybe Addie LaRue now. Bye.